So what is a microservice? Well, it has a few different characteristics that we can take a look at. One, in terms of the traits of a microservice, it's small. So a microservice does one thing and it does it very well. It's also autonomous. So a microservice isn't making connections to, let's say, the database and making connections to the auth service and tying it all together. It does a particular task and it does that one task very well. So each microservice could, for example, talk to independently the authentication system or independently to the database system. They're also specialized. So these microservices can do a particular task in a way where they're not going to fall down if there's a connection that fails between another service. They could gracefully handle that error. So those are some of the key characteristics of a microservice. So what about the benefits? Well, in terms of benefits, one of them is just the speed to develop the application. A lot of times, if you're dealing with a larger application, you have to go back into pages and pages of code and figure out where something interacts with another. But if it's a small microservice, you can instantly look at it. Let's say it's 100 or 200 lines of code, and you know what it is that it does. That also ties into simplicity. So likewise, because the service is so small, you know exactly what's happening when it runs, and you can isolate things into a particular service. So the authentication service or the database service or the business logic service. In a nutshell, what that's doing is it's mapping the logic of your microservice into a particular URL. So really at its smallest form, what a microservice is it's a function, let's say in Python or in Go or some other language, that maps to a URL or to an event. Now, what does that actually mean for us? Well, what it means is that there is a high degree of reliability because of the fact that that microservice does one thing and it does it well. So in a nutshell, a microservice is a huge advancement in software engineering architecture because of these traits and these benefits.